Wait, okay, I'm a little nervous just because I am by myself, but a lot of the times I am by myself. And I mean that in the sense of should have got something to drink. So it's gonna be a little choppy. I might take these off just for the reflection. So in the beginning, hold on, let me shut the fuck up and give thanks. Thank you, mind, body, spirit. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. If you've seen the other episodes, you know I just had my first guest on. I was honored to actually have them on the podcast show, but I made a big old doozy and I didn't know that there was another additional setting on the Riverside FM program to record audio and video. Everything was running fine, but all I got from that was the audio. So hopefully next time, in a few months, the guest did say that they would be down to do another episode and to coincide with what they're doing for their mission with a nonprofit. Is an influencer from TikTok that I've actually kind of grown fond of, and the community he's created. So that is the mission and the purpose of me promoting him and uplifting his platform in a way that I could possibly lift up that, mainly the mission, because it speaks true to home for me. So check that out on Spotify. And the video I made, I kind of had to get really, really creative with it. And it's up on YouTube at One Soul. So thank you in advance and thank you for being here. So as we progress through these podcast episodes, it's just going to be me like this for the most part, unless someone wants to chime in, have a conversation with me about said topic. I'm always down to have a conversation with intellectual people, high value, high quality intellectual people. So I think this is the best way that this is going to happen. So yeah. So initially when it came down to me doing this podcast, I kind of ran out of ideas to always come up with. And so now I'll post things on my TikTok, which I did make a One Soul Talks TikTok page for clips and other things mainly pertaining to this. So it's a little bit easier to draw in a crowd from TikTok. But back to what I was saying, I was always running out of ideas. So I came up with this solution because it's kind of like a puzzling game for me to challenge my mind. So let me just show you. I've made these so long ago. These are not the ideas or the topics, but the topics I have written on the back of them. And I have them flipped over on each piece of paper blank. That would be the notes of the podcast episode. And I would pick the very first one and that would be the topic. And we just talk about the topic. So I'm going to do just that. Okay. So this is the first one. And you guys are going to see the topic first. Let me make sure it's this. What does it say? Oh, okay. That's a little bit tricky. So this card says, if you look up on the YouTube channel, you'll see like I've done this for a thumbnail and I'll redo it like this. So why photography is good or why is photography important for business? I would say when it comes down to a business standpoint, because I think about this all the time, just like with social media, and you want eyes to be drawn to your business for anything of what you're trying to do for your business. And you can utilize it in so many different ways. That's the coolest thing about photography, videography, all the art forms when it comes down to it. And you can get so creative, especially when it just comes to just different minds and visions coming together to create this beautiful thing. That's honestly, like, as a Pisces, clearly, like, I'm all about the creative move and just the whole vibe of it all. And it fuels my, I was gonna say gas tank, but fuels my creative flow. So I'll think of something creative and I'll need to either exert that, like, I was just going to go to bed. I was going to wash my face, brush my teeth, and get on the bed. But I decided, like, I have something in me that I need to talk about. And sometimes I'll go, if it's a quick thing that I can kind of jumble up and put on TikTok, then I will. But if it's something that, like, is on my mental really, really heavily, then I would rather talk about it here. So I just picked up the camera, I plugged it in, and now we're here. So yeah, I can do another one, but when it comes down to photography in general, I would think I kind of just said it all right there. So let's just pick another one for the heck of it. And again, the way that different minds and visions can come together to make something beautiful is honestly one of the best feelings ever. That's initially where I got a lot of my photography kickoff, if you will, here in Las Vegas, because I would go to these meetups that I really, really do miss. But I think there was a time and a place for them, because I think about it often and I wish they were still around, especially for just like influencers or other people in that nature in the social media world here in or locally in Las Vegas. Because nothing is going to get seen without any kind of media, right? Nothing is going to get seen or talked about or thought about without any media pushed on it or pushed about it, made about it, created for it. You know, it's one of those things that money is time, and time is money. So here's the next one. This is all about photography based too, by the way. Why'd it gotta be this one? Damn. Which photography camera is the best? So in my opinion, invest in a quality, depends on also what you want to do for it too. I would say do extensive research when it comes to if you're using it primarily for vlogging or capturing weddings or just photography, fun stuff, hobby stuff. It really depends on what you're trying to use it for. I personally went with something I can kind of do both with. Marker. Like I was saying, I personally wanted to do something I could do both with because I wanted a decent priced body, which I have the Nikon D5300. It's the red body, and that has been my tried and true since I bought it off eBay for like $500, and it came with like a whole bunch of like the silly kit stuff. I got it in like 2015, 2016 after I had just moved to Washington, actually, because I was up there for a while and I kind of became depressed. And I kind of told myself that, okay, it's like one of those things that I need to do something. I need an outlet. And that's essentially what it came from. And if you scroll far enough down on my social or my Instagram at onesoulPhotos, you'll be able to see how I kind of trickled a lot of this stuff. Just simple stuff, nature stuff, things that just kind of caught my eye just to do it and experiment with for the fun of it. And so essentially it just became something. Hold on, this beanie's bothering me. So to essentially get my mind off of the depression I was going through, which it really did. Also, the time of just an up and down through a very, very long 9-year relationship. It helped me get out of my shell and get out and experience things that I've been wanting to experience. And that's where essentially my self-development came from. I got so bored and I got so tired of waiting to do shit with somebody that I want to experience, because I knew I just had like a feeling that I didn't think I was ever going to be back in that space to experience those things. And now to this day, I still talk about it because it was the most turning point in my life that I can never, ever, ever regret. Although, like, I've done some shitty shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you about that. I don't want to ever lie on the things that I've done, on the mistakes that I've done. I kind of just repeated myself, but because it's not gonna be true to myself and my word, and that's the only type of time I'm on, because I cannot stand. This is the other thing that was heavy on my mind. I don't know how. See, this is crazy. I went from talking about photography and how it helped me. So I guess this is the episode, and this is kind of what I kind of essentially came down to. So photography really, really helped me come out of that depression. And I would show y'all right now if I could. I can. Hold on. Let's look this up real quick. Actually, let's do this real quick. Let me look up my Instagram, and then we are going to, okay, cool. We are going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to share my screen. Instagram. Okay. We're sharing my screen right now, and we're going to go to my page. This is my TikTok or my Instagram if y'all don't know, but we're going to go keep scrolling down. It's going to load for a minute. We're going to keep scrolling down. It's going to keep loading. It's going to be a minute, but again, like a lot of it came from going out in Washington. And when I say Washington, I'm mainly talking about Tacoma and Seattle area. I love Seattle. I would go back there 10 times. Like, I do not care. I will go back there eventually. To live, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I ever could. I think the most I could live is in Oregon. Yeah, I think that's the most further up north I could live, besides like maybe Middle East, if that makes sense. Just to experience it. But we're going to keep going down, 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 because I have a lot that I'm very proud of too. And my favorite thing right here on this, like, I'll go back up, but is when I just was going in on it, and it just, like, I love portraits. I never realized it, and I love hands. Like hands, portraits, movements. That's really where it came down to. Okay, we're getting there. So essentially I just started taking, at the time I had this gig that was paying me to take photos of things to sell that they are selling on Amazon. And that's crazy. Sorry, that I forgot I was screen sharing. Sorry. I wasn't supposed to show that. I forgot it was even on here, honestly. But this is where it kind of began. I just started taking pictures of flowers and scenery and everything. Like, okay, this is where it began. I think, yep, that's her right there. I don't have this kit. This, I think I do, but I don't use it. But that's the camera I have. This was back in Washington, the first place we lived at. And then I was heavily into makeup, if you could not tell. Like, heavily. Like, I was heavily into makeup. For real. This is how heavy I was into makeup. I was buying the expensive shit. Like, you see the Benefit Professional right there. You see Clinique. You see Jeffree Star. Like, I was heavily into makeup. Like, it's just crazy. Clearly, I was heavily into makeup. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that was on there. Yeah, I just started taking pictures of stuff on walks, hikes, flowers. This one's really pretty to me. It really is. And I did very minimal light editing on this stuff, and it was just fun. This is another one. That's Mount Rainier. I almost said Everest or Rushmore. When we were on a hike, flowers. That's when I got my hair done in Tacoma at home. I did this randomly because I thought it was so interesting, at least the texture wise. This is my hand, by the way. And I think stuff like this is pretty cool. I was also heavily into skincare still. This was in Seattle. Yeah, this is Gasworks Park. And one of the best views ever at night. I just want to make sure. Oh, I could do this right here. Bruh, I didn't even know that. Okay, so now we're going to go back to here. I just want to make sure my camera is still on. This is Seattle as well. Seattle. This was people playing volleyball. I thought it was pretty cool. Seattle, Washington. Seattle, when I was visiting my mom's friend, and her friend was having a wedding, which was pretty cool. I got to be on this boat, take pictures. I made this video for them. I don't know if the sound is still on there. I thought this stuff is so cool to me. I don't know why. It just is. See, I knew it. So, like I was saying, this stuff is so cool. This was the video I made for them right here. It's your day. I don't know what the sound is though. Yeah, no, I don't know what the sound is. This is when we went to see Metallica, which I was very, very stoked for. And I would just take pictures of flowers, pretty cool views. This was one of my favorites. And this was when I was messing around with the logo idea. That's from my phone picture. Like, I would just go on hikes. Who I was with at the time, we would just go on hikes like this. Yeah, just a lot of it, really. This was in the city of Tacoma. It's pretty. That was the Kitlands. You can tell just by how grainy it is. And I like the texture of just things. I thought this was pretty cool. Like, the person would pay me to take pictures like that. And I would send it to them and they'd post it and XYZ. And just like cool shit. Yeah. This bub. The gum. Beer. I thought this was so cool. Just random plants and city lights. Whenever I'd go out and do stuff like this, is because I was having a hard time trying to deal with life without family near me. Which was so weird. It really was. It was a lot harder for me than I thought it was going to be. There was one time I made this edit. That's another logo I was trying to do too. It was just some silly shit that I was messing around with, and I thought it was so cool. And then more Seattle stuff. This is when I took this is me. I took these when I was like a little bit down the street from where I lived. Just nature and peace is what got me really all the time. Like a lot of the time. And then I would say the moody darkness, sadness of the photo is actually quite beautiful to me. So I've always been a creative person at heart. And these white border lines is what I got from the photographer Evan Ramp. And he was a big inspiration to me. He still is. I have not kept up with any of his stuff. Like at all. And then I got into neon stuff because I thought that's initially what drew me to just neon things. And that's what drew me to have the person I was with at the time make me my logo that I use now. And I was snapping at myself to remember. And just everything from there, it just kind of coincided with each other, like neon signs, neon lights, night lights, stuff like this. This is probably one of my favorites just because it looks cool. This is another favorite of mine, just texture-wise, view-wise, and it just fit. Like, I would go back there today. And then just all of this. This is some of my favorite stuff. Birds. This is one of my favorites because you can see all the little snow speckles. That was really, really, really cool. More neon signs, more neon lights. This was one time at work. We were driving. Someone else was driving. And I took the picture because I thought it looked cool. This is one of the self-dates that right here. I'm going to read you this caption because I remember what I ate here because I took pictures of it. But it says, as of recently, it has been a goal more of seeing and doing things I anticipated while doing while being in the PNW. At today's countdown, these experiences, these moments are bittersweet, but nonetheless, I am truly blessed and grateful to have these moments. I suppose what I'm saying is, with all the chaos, don't forget to stay tuned within your present moments, and we will never. I was so smart then. I mean, I am still smart, but like, that's crazy. It's crazy. And this is what I ate. And I was by myself, by the way. I ate a pulled pork sandwich. Had Molly Moon's ice cream, the lavender one. Delicious. Highly, highly suggest that if you're ever in the PNW area. And I am looking a little bloated. Don't mind that. I just gotta point it out. I'm just saying. I thought these are pretty cool. This one's one of my favorite. I have this printed. It's my baby boy. This is my own man. This is my nephew. And then this is when I kind of just started doing the coincide three posts per I don't know what it's called, row. So it's my brother, my youngest brother. And then I started messing with colors, like really, really heavily. This is where I was so nervous to just start taking pictures of people I don't know. And I had to get into it. And it's just like, I always wanted to tell who I was taking pictures of. I appreciate their time and energy and creativity no matter what, because they could have said no to me. Like I always, okay, hold on, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm talking to, no matter who I'm working with, it is always my goal to provide a safe, open place, environment for people to be authentically themselves, because that's how I would want to be accepted, and vice versa, right? And it's just so important to me that I offer that to anybody who I'm working with, because they don't have to do this thing for me. Nobody owes me anything. And so when they do allow me to work with them and we both collaborate on something, I am genuinely forever grateful, because I don't, like I said this in the last episode, that I don't want to play on anybody's time or dime. And I didn't realize how true that was until I kept saying it. I kept thinking it after I was done and said with that episode. So this is just very, very, very important to me. And it's just like, it's not gonna disappear from me. Okay. This person is pretty cool. I'll never forget her. And she just let me do my thing. Like, I love when people just allow me to kind of work with a vision, or work with angles, and work with just different things. Like even this. When it came down to posing, this is initially why I did what I did when it came to going out and going to these particular meets in Las Vegas. So yeah. And I just came from all this, really. Yeah. And then I just started doing stuff on my own. This was stuff from back home. It's my cousin. I've always my goal is to eventually get into concert photography. Eventually. So this was another meetup that was kind of random, but was cool nonetheless. This is by far one of my favorites. If it shows. More of the same thing. These ones are pretty cool too. This one I kind of got introduced to somebody who was really, really cool, and I was so nervous to actually work with him. But yeah, I actually got to work with this person a lot, because we just meshed well with each other. Right? That perfect, actually. And she was so sweet. But I really, really, really loved the hair that she had on, or that she had here. And so that's what drew me to it. These are more just other pictures. He is pretty cool too. This is what I mean. And this was the other girl from that first set of pictures. And then this one, these ones are probably my second or third favorite. This one, I have this one printed. It's just, it does something for sure. And what's crazy is that I know what I did wrong, and I have a feeling of how I can fix these ones, because like right here, you see this purpley pink aspect right here and on the fingers. Yeah, I noticed that when it came to just certain pictures. And my thing was, I love to just capture the authentic, real, and raw form of somebody's face. Because I just still don't believe in highly edited fake cover-ups when it comes to the face. It just feels disingenuous to me. This was a random thing that kind of happened. So the person who put on these meetups, along with those other ones, I don't know why I'm just talking about my Instagram now, but this is where essentially all this started off, and how it all kind of got me to here. I'll wrap it up with this one though for now. This one I'm very proud of. Actually, a lot of these I'm actually very, very proud of. But this one right here, this one seals the deal for me. It just meshed very well. And I would have this on a bigger print. Like, it's just fire. It's just fire as fuck. It's literally just so fire as fuck. So that's a little bit of what I have. These are some more. And then as time went on, COVID happened, just couldn't really get back into it. So I had to come up with other alternatives or work on some archive stuff. And these are the logos that I've been using. So, and then here and there is just mixed in with just life stuff and all that good stuff. And then I've still been taking pictures, or I have a whole bunch of archive stuff. But essentially, that's where it began. So, yeah, that's where it's at. And now we're here. So, let's step away from all of that. Where's my... Perfect. So, needless to say, I said my piece at the beginning, and I got tired of actually waiting to do things and live my life, waiting for somebody to do stuff with. That's kind of really what it came down to, because it was one of those things where I felt like I was begging to do or spend time with somebody, when not all the time, because I can't say that we didn't do anything, because we did. But at the same time, it was just, how do I say? It felt really, really lonely. Especially when the other person just, like, I understand when it comes down to work. I keep wanting to chew gum. I understand when it comes to just working all the time. But at the same time, if you're in a relationship with somebody, and it sucks because at the time we were just doing the same thing all the time. Like, we would eat in front of the TV, and that's fine. And we'd make dinner together, and that's fine. Like, that's my favorite part. But at some point, it kind of got repetitive because it felt like that's all we were doing. And then sometimes I'd be suggesting to go do these things, but then there was a roommate that was always there too. So that's what it came down to sometimes, you know. That's kind of where I realized that I needed a hobby, or I needed something to get my mind off something. Because even though the relationship at the time was kind of going through trials and tribulations on both sides, I needed to find something that was going to just help my mental health. So when it comes down to just skincare, house cleaning, house organizing, or creative stuff like this, it helps my mental health. And when I don't do it, it's always in the back of my mind. Sometimes it's not the best place for it to be just brewing, but it's there. I can't ignore it. It's not something, it's just something that's always going to be there. So yeah, I felt really bloated. So if there's one thing I can say, is don't allow your life to be wasted on something that you feel like you have to keep fighting for. Or it's just because something that's meant to be, it won't be that hard, or won't feel like such an obligation to try to just be with the person. It would just be. I'm not saying that relationships aren't good, or healthy relationships aren't going to take work. They are. That's the point of it. They're gonna take every single thing that can be thrown at the relationship. It's gonna happen. It's just what you do when those things take place. Are you gonna handle it accordingly? Are you gonna set those boundaries with those people? Are you going to respect your partner in the way that they deserve to be respected because they are with you, or you are with them? Again, it's just, how strong is a foundation? I've realized that now. Like, it's almost like if you don't build a solid foundation, how are you going to ever build on top of that to build a sturdy home? Make it make sense. Because I think a lot of people, and at times I was like this too, we kind of just want to be with somebody for the idea of being with somebody and making it feel like it's everything. But essentially, we just end up building regret and, what is it called? Resentment. Because we just wanted to be with somebody. Although it felt like everything was aligning right? And everything was good. Everything was fine. But it's just like that teeter-totter of just like, everything's good for now. Let's just keep it rolling. It's the same thing as someone trying to be quiet and keep the peace, even though there's a problem, or everybody knows there's a problem within this space and nobody's talking about it. That's one of those things where I cannot ignore, and I need, like, it's like you're trying to talk, but you're being choked. Oh my God. Well, what I was trying to say was like, it's one of those things where you feel like you're trying to talk, but you're being choked up because you can't get the words out. Does that make sense? When I say these analogies, they make sense to me, but when I say them out loud, sometimes they just don't come out how I want them to. So that's why I say it doesn't make sense. So essentially, I know patience is a virtue when it comes to just meeting somebody new. I know that and I understand that. But don't allow the limerence of somebody by the idea of what you think that person could be. Like, don't fall in love with the version of them that you made up and conjured up in your mind. Because they could be totally different and totally opposite. And by that time, you want to be heavily invested with them. And you don't even know if you like that version of them. The real version of them. No, baby. Get that shit in order from the jump. And take off those rose-colored glasses. And just be upfront. This is one of the biggest things that just, with me going forward in any relationship I have. Because it's going to be my final one. I just know it is, and I'm totally okay with however long it's going to take. Because when I know I found that somebody, I just know in my bones that it's just meant to be. It's going to be one of those feelings that nobody can ever explain other than me, and when I feel it and when that other person feels it. And I'm so beyond excited to meet them, whoever they are. I'm not rushing anything anymore. Not as much as I wanted to before. I've just come to terms with that. It's okay. Like, it's okay. I don't need to rush anything. For the person that's meant for me next, I know they're not going to rush anything. I know they're going to be someone to just be patient with and to build that solid foundation with. I just know it is. And again, whoever the fuck that is, I'm excited to meet you. I know I don't mean to curse at the same time, but I'm excited to meet you, and I'm excited to get to know who you are, because that's one of my favorite things to do about anybody is just study the fuck out of them. Is to study what they do, their quirks. Like, it's just that's what makes me fall in love with somebody, is knowing what makes them who they are, what makes them smile, what makes them feel loved, what makes them feel grateful, what makes them feel so special, so uniquely special. Let me take that back and reiterate that. Uniquely special. Because people can do these things that are just pretty basic in a way. But with me, I think of things that just go beyond the surface level. Because I see and I know different things. I know what I'm like. And if we correlate in that way, how the fuck do I know how you are? Just by what you told me. Because I can listen. I don't need to be told things once, twice. Okay, maybe sometimes, but not all the time. But I'm going to take somebody by their word. And here's the thing. If you switch up on me, that's fine. Do whatever you got to do. But do not ever expect me to be back in your circle, like, ever again. Because I've been there and I've done that plenty of times. And I'm loyal to a fault. And I'm stupid to a fault too sometimes. Like, I fuck up. It's true. But one thing, it's just, I know what I want for my life, and I know what I want for my future. And doing and acting up and acting a fool when it comes down to just building a solid foundation with somebody special, that's never going to be in my cards again. I've been there. I've done that. I know what the results are. Do I want to go back? Fuck no. Do I want to build a solid foundation with somebody? Yes. Do I want to marry my best friend? Fuck yes. Like, when I hear the term crash out, and I was telling this to a friend, I want to be all in on somebody, like a fresher breath air. Like, fuck yeah, I got them. Like, fuck yeah, they got me. And we just so tight like that nobody in this fucking world is gonna be able to break that bond. They can try. They can try and try, but girl, once I'm locked in, I'm locked in. Like, I do not care. I could be, now, if things are aligning right, and we on that same type of time, it's like I'm not actively looking for somebody, but for somebody to come along that I mesh well and connect well on a deeper intellectual level. I mean, bets are all off the table, because like I love my love runs deeper than the darkest parts of the ocean, and they float just like water. That age, I don't know how the fuck I got from talking about photography stuff, and well, I mean, I got from talking photography stuff the basics of what those questions were asking, and then how it helped me. I talked about this before in a way, just not an updated version where you can see the video too. So I should be going to sleep. I should be watching my brush. I'm gonna test something on Twitch real quick, but I appreciate you so much for being here. That's gonna be the end of this episode, and I don't know what I'm gonna title it. So there it is. Here is the raw, unfiltered. Just know that anything going forward, anything in the past, all of this podcast in particular is always uncensored. The only thing that's ever gonna be clipped out is yawns or or anything like that. And if you have an idea for a guest next, let me know. Send it in. Send it somewhere. Comment on the episode. Like, I'm open to all ears, because I know what these episodes are going to do for me, and I know what these episodes can do for somebody else in need. Because when I'm talking out loud, I am talking to myself, essentially and logically and theoretically. So yeah, check out the TikToks, check out all the socials. Everything's going to be underneath. It's already going to be an hour. I've been talking. That's crazy. So this episode will probably be like 30 minutes. Quick, simple. I could probably do another one tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're just going to peep the fuck out. Let me see what these do, though. What the hell? I could have did this with the guest on it. Then that would have made things 10 times more funnier. Thank you. Well, peace out. Bye. Thank you for watching.